All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're jumping into one of the biggest names in software development, Selenium. You know, if you've ever wondered how big companies make sure their websites don't break every 5 minutes, well, you're in the right place.
Just picture this for a second. Imagine you had to test a login form. And I mean really test it. You have to type your password, hit enter, check if it works, and then do it again and again, maybe 100 times. It's boring, it's slow, and you're definitely going to make a mistake. So what if you could just have a robot do it all for you?
Well, that robot has a name, and it's Selenium. At its heart, Selenium is the world's go-to open-source framework for automating web browsers. It's basically the engine that lets you write code to take control of a browser and make it do whatever you want, clicking buttons, filling out forms, grabbing data, all by itself. Okay, but right off the bat, it's super important to know what Selenium is and what it isn't. It is an absolute master of one thing, the web browser. It's built from the ground up to pretend it's a user, clicking and typing on websites. But it is not a tool for testing mobile apps. It's not for desktop software, and it doesn't test a system's backend APIs. It lives in the browser, and that's key.
So, you might be thinking, if it only does that one thing, why is it such a huge deal? What makes Selenium the undisputed industry standard?
Well, the biggest reason can be summed up with this number right here, 100%. That's how much it costs you. It is 100% free and open source. There are no licensing fees, no hidden costs, nothing. It doesn't matter if you're a student working on a tiny project or a massive company. You can just download it and start using it right now for free. And being free is just the start. Its real power comes from its incredible flexibility. See, Selenium doesn't care what browser you use. Chrome, Firefox, Safari, you name it. It also doesn't care what programming language you prefer. You can write your tests in Python or Java or C#, whatever works for your team. It runs on Windows, Mac, Linux. It has a huge community for support, and it plugs right into all the modern tools companies already use. That combination is just so powerful.
Now, here's something that trips people up. We talk about Selenium like it's just one single program you download, but that's not really the whole story.
It's much, much better to think of Selenium as a whole toolbox, right? Or maybe a suite of different tools, where each one has a very specific job. Once you get that, you'll really understand what Selenium can do.
First, and this is the big one, you have Selenium WebDriver. This is the absolute core of the whole thing. It's the engine, the heart of the entire suite. WebDriver is the piece that acts as a translator. It takes the commands you write in your code and turns them into actions the web browser can actually understand and execute.
Next up in the toolbox is the Selenium IDE. You can think of this as the easy button, or like training wheels. It's a simple little browser extension that lets you hit a record button, click around on a website, and then poof, it spits out a basic Selenium script for you. It's awesome for beginners or for whipping up a quick, simple test.
And finally, for the really big jobs, there's Selenium Grid. Grid is what lets you scale up your testing massively. It lets you run your tests not just on your one machine, but across dozens, even hundreds of different browsers and operating systems all at the same time. This is absolutely critical for big companies who need to be sure their website works for literally everyone. So how does WebDriver actually pull this off? Well, it's a really clean chain of command. Think of your code as the director on a movie set. It's shouting the orders, like, click the button. Then Selenium WebDriver is the translator who takes that order and converts it into a universal language that all browsers understand. Finally, that instruction gets passed to a specific actor, like ChromeDriver for Chrome, which actually performs the action in the browser.
Okay, that's enough theory. It's time to see what this actually looks like. How do we go from a simple idea in our heads to a piece of code that a computer can run? So let's start with a classic, a login test. If you were doing this by hand, what would you do? You'd open a browser, go to the website, find the username and password boxes, type your info in, click the login button, and then close the browser. Super simple, right? Just 6 logical steps. And here is how that translates one-to-one into Python code. This is a complete script. The first couple lines just get things set up and open Chrome. Then driver.get, that's our go to the website step. Now for the magic. This line, driver.findElement, tells Selenium, hey, go find the thing on the page with the ID user. Once it finds it, the next line, send keys, just types our username into it. We do the exact same thing for the password. Then, .click,
Well, it clicks the button. And finally, driver.quit closes the browser. See? Every single line maps perfectly to one of our plain English steps. So look, learning this isn't just a cool party trick. It's a really practical skill that opens up a ton of real-world career doors. Let's put this whole thing into context.
Now, Selenium isn't the only tool out there. Newer frameworks like Playwright and Cypress are often faster, and they have some really slick modern features. But here's Selenium's killer advantage. It has unmatched support for all the major browsers and all the major programming languages. That incredible flexibility is why it's still the industry standard, especially in big companies with lots of different tech.
And that industry dominance, it translates directly into jobs. If you go on any job site right now and search for these titles, automation tester, QA engineer, or this really popular one, SDET, I guarantee you're going to see Selenium listed as a required skill over and over again. So the bottom line here is simple. Selenium isn't just another tool you can learn, it's a foundational skill for any career in modern software quality. Knowing it means you speak the language of web automation, and that's a language that companies all over the world are desperate to hire for. So there you have it. We've covered what Selenium is, how its toolbox works, and why it's such a critical skill for a career in tech. We went from a simple idea all the way to a working piece of code. So the only question left is the one right here. Now that you know the tool, what are you going to build with it?